Good morning, David Stewart here. I woke up to some really sad news this morning. I guess Paco de Lucia died late last night. He was apparently in Cancun, Mexico, and was playing with his kids on the beach, and collapsed. And they took him to the hospital, and I guess he died late last night, and the apparent cause was a heart attack. He was 66 years old. I'm going to put a link down in the description box to a couple of news stories about him. If you don't know who Paco de Lucia was, he was a really important guitarist to Spanish music in general, and specifically flamenco. And he sort of brought forth this whole movement in flamenco called Nuevo Flamenco, which means new flamenco, where you incorporated more things outside of flamenco into flamenco, and also exported flamenco to other styles of music. So he recorded jazz with a couple of great jazz musicians, including Chick Corea. The most famous recording was called A Night in San Francisco. He recorded that with Al Di Meola and John McLaughlin. Really great recording. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. He plays jazz with them, stands toe-to-toe with them. It's great. And he has a really distinctive style of playing. You can hear him standing out amongst the others. In flamenco, he brought in more jazz ideas to sort of the traditional flamenco forms. Most of Paco's music follows still the traditional compasses of the older styles. So if he's playing bulerías, it's still rhythmically very bulerías. It's not, he doesn't discard rhythms or anything like that. Other Nuevo Flamenco artists have shied away from whole traditional forms like bulerías and have really just played like rumba, which is a Cuban form, like Gypsy Kings. They're not really flamenco, but they get associated with flamenco a lot, and they play rumba for the most part. But he played everything. He continued to play really old forms like ciguerillas. So very interesting what he did there. As time went on, he continued to sort of evolve his music, and later in his career, he played a lot more what I would call traditional flamenco, but he continued to incorporate instruments that were maybe a little non-standard. So he had mandolin and mandola. He'd have various percussion instruments in addition to the cante, the vocals, which were traditional. He'd use traditional cante. I saw him maybe a year and a half ago in concert, and he had a guy who played piano and harmonica, flamenco harmonica, and was actually a brilliant player. I really enjoyed hearing him play, and I thought it added a lot to the sort of sound, but it still was really authentic, which is great. Authentic is a term that it's hard to define for flamenco, because if you're not from Spain, authenticity is made, it's not found. But it still kept the core rhythms of what I would call traditional flamenco. Within flamenco, besides Nuevo Flamenco, he's really well known for progressing as a guitar player the technique known as picado, which is very sort of fast scale playing. He played really fast. Other guys before him had played fast, like Carlos Montoya, Juan Serrano, but he really kind of took it to a new level. His picado was really furious, extremely articulate, and very fast. He would articulate every note, very few slurs. Right? He didn't rely on the left hand to make up for lack of speed in the right hand. Every note would be articulate. When you listen to that recording with Al Di Meola and John McLaughlin, you can hear him because it's so articulate. Every note is played clearly, and it's so fast. So he's a really important guitar player for that reason, and also for all the other stuff he did in the music, bringing in all the instruments, bringing in all the extra influence, the jazz influence. So Nuevo Flamenco, that's what he's really well known for. If you've never heard any of his music, I recommend the One Night in San Francisco to hear him play jazz. I also, like, my favorite album from him is actually one of his later albums. It's not his music necessarily from the 70s and 80s, although Quiero Solo Caminar is really good. My favorite is an album from him called Lucia, Luzia, and Lucia was his mother, I believe. So he also sings a song about Camarón, a singer he worked with in the 70s that he did a lot of important music with. That one's really traditional. It's got all the really traditional stuff in it, but still has all the extra Paco in it. So I really recommend that album, Lucia, the One Night in San Francisco, those two. Thanks for watching. I'm really sorry to report the news. Unfortunately, when you get to 66, heart problems can set in. That's when things tend to start going wrong if they're going to go wrong. So he was still pretty young in my eyes, but not so young that a heart attack is completely out of the blue. I've known marathon runners who had heart attacks. So unfortunately, that's what happens. Not a really predictable thing. Really, really sad news. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm really sorry to bring you the bad news.